Welcome to the Marketing Automation Show. I'm Joey Keller, your host. So today we're going to talk about email sending speed. This is a question which comes up over and over again in the Mautic forums, or actually any Mautic user would like to know how to send emails 5 or 10 times faster. This is the video you should really watch. I'm going to go into the dangers of sending emails fast, also the tweaks and scripts you need. And also I'm going to do some live testing and demonstrating how the emails can be actually spooled 10 times faster, how the emails can be sent out 10 times faster using Mautic. In this video, you will see some scripts and patches which you can apply yourself, or you can come to my membership page, be a member, and then there is a serious hand-holding done by me, and you can just download the patches, download the scripts. I'm showing you everything, showing you command by command what you should do to reach this amazing sending speed. So let's dig in. Let's have first some considerations regarding sending speed. So before you at all start to send faster in Mautic, or actually any self-hosted email tool, I want you to go through this checklist and really think about it if it makes sense for you to send in a higher speed. There are a couple of things what you should ask yourself. For example, can your server handle the speed? Does your provider allow you to send faster? Does it affect your reputation at all? And also, can you handle the feedback loops? When you answer these questions, then we can move forward to the technical part. But let's go through these questions a little bit. I would like to go into details. So if you have a simple server, a VPS, Amazon, whatever, Linode or DigitalOcean, doesn't matter. If you have something like 2-core 4-gig server or 4-core 8-gig server, which is like $20, $30, it really depends on the provider, but you will reach an average speed of 2.5 seconds emails per second, which means 150 per minute, 9,000 per hour. So if you want to send 100,000 emails, that's gonna take you 11 hours. I'm sure you've seen this before and you try to optimize, and this is the speed what you manage to reach. Of course, it depends on your database settings, on your actual server, is it dedicated CPU or not, but this is something what you can calculate with. So we can speed this up a lot, but you should understand what the consequences are. So we can speed this up to, send out 100K to 55 minutes. You can do it even in 20 minutes. This video would like to also discuss if it makes sense at all, or is it worth it. If you use multi-threaded setting, which is this video is about, you can reach easily on a $20 server, like 36,000 emails an hour. If you invest a little bit more money, so $50, $75 server, you're gonna reach 100,000 per hour easily. So these are my calculations. These are actually measurements I took. So this is something you can reach yourself. This is what your server can handle as a default, but there are some side effects as well, which I would like to discuss now. But before that, does your provider allow that at all? Because they would limit your sending speed most likely. And one of the providers is Amazon, for example, who I know for sure that Amazon limits the sending speed. Others limit too. Some of them publicly, some of them will not tell you that they limit it. They just, get all the emails in and then later they throttle it themselves. So they will actually send it out with a lower sending speed. In case of Amazon, we know that the limit, if you have 50,000 email allowance per day, per 24 hours, then you can send with up to 14 emails per second. Let's say you moved out already from this limitation, you have like 100,000, and this limit will gradually go up. But if you just started sending, you have 50,000 per day and 14 emails per second limitation. So what happens is that you're sending lots slower than you're allowed to. So Amazon is able to accept all your emails and sends it out with the same speed, most likely. If you're sending faster than that in the current, with your current limitations, you try to send 20 emails per second, then a part of it will be lost. So actually what can happen is that Amazon will just stop receiving your API calls, and all the part which is above 14 per second will be lost. It can happen that they actually block you for a couple minutes or hours even if you continuously sending faster. So it's very important that you're not trying to send faster than allowed in Amazon SES. You can actually get banned for that as well if you continuously bombing their endpoint too fast. You can actually see your limitations, your sending limits. I'm going to move this a little bit like this so you can see it. These are the sending limits. For example, 500,000 emails in a 24-hour period. You can send with 57 emails per second. We already in this account, we already moved out from the 50,000 per day. We consistently send good traffic, so they let us send a little bit more emails per second. So what does it mean? That means that we can send by 30 emails per second. They accept up to 57 per second, and this is an average. So sometimes you can send a little bit faster, but in average of like in a 1 minute interval, it should be under this quota. But it can be that they would forward these emails, so the actual fulfillment of the emails will be slower than that. It depends on many factors, but I've seen multiple times that if you are sending a big batch to Amazon and you expect that those emails are sent out immediately, probably that won't happen because they also throttle the emails. So if there are a bunch of big senders at the same time sending emails, then you are at the end of the line or in the middle of the line, and it can happen that your emails will actually be fulfilled a little bit later. So it arrives into the mailbox, let's say 1 hour later or half an hour later or 10 minutes later. Let's talk a little bit about the reputation. It's very important not to send suddenly a large amount of emails. Just because you have an allowance of 100,000 or 200K, don't send right away 200K because it's suspicious. So you're going to end up being penalized on the reputation part. And you should be always consistent. It's always better to send the same daily amount than to do once a huge email send. I'm not saying that it will not be successful because you might have an amazing reputation, but I'm saying it does have an effect. And always monitor it. I recommend Postmaster too. So for example, here is a client of mine. They were sending too fast, too many emails at one point, and the reputation went down. So that's why they came to me, hey, can you help me? So we set up another email sending plan for them to fix this issue. Okay, I want a little bit talk about the feedback loops. So every time you send email is generating something on your server. First of all, the email itself has certain resource requirement because when the email is generated, then there is a database query. The database query result in some kind of script sending out the email or putting it on your server as a file, and then another script picking up the file and sending it out. So that's one thing that it's resource intensive to send emails. But when someone opens an email, you also need resources for that. So you actually need but you need a script to manage that opening event, which is calling your website. There is a tracking pixel being opened, and do the proper SQL queries to acknowledge that this email was opened. You have to save it in your database. If you're running this through like a proxy, for example, Apple likes to open the emails before the actual user opens it. Microsoft does the same. So a real open will result in at least 2 or 3 opens altogether. The same with clicks. Click is coming in. You have to make a database query to understand what that click is, where it should go, and then register in the database that there is a click. The click actually happened. Plus, if you have your server hosting also your website and Mautic together, then you will generate page views as well. So right away you have clicks, page views, opens. It's many actions are happening at the same time. If you have automations connected, then you have additional resources. You need additional resources for that. So the automation will also trigger database events. And you eventually have to deal with bounces and complaints. And by bounces, I don't mean that necessarily some email doesn't work, but maybe you get a temporary bounce, or you get another feedback, like for example this email is already in a block list by Amazon, so you get a lots of feedback from the provider, not to mention the complaints as well. So you have to all deal with all of this. So let's do a little bit math. If you're sending out 250,000 emails in 2 hours, this is industry average numbers here. You're going to deal with 50,000 opens, 2,500 clicks, 10,000 page views, 5,000 automations, and 5,000 bounce complaints. The automations, I kept it really on the low side. So it's 72,000 events in 2 hours. Can your server manage that? So you're sending out, if you're sending out too fast, you have to deal with stuff too fast as well in a short period of time. So it can happen that your server resources suddenly go up. The green is representing when we are dealing with the feedback, because the email sending will not have such a big burden, but all the traffic coming back, and the red is representing already the extra traffic what you cannot manage. So before you at all go into the technical part and consider sending faster, you should ask yourself really these questions. Can your server handle it at all? Are you running your Mautic on a Raspberry Pi, or it's actually a normal server which can handle the send out itself? Does your provider allow you to send so fast, or are you actually gonna get banned because trying to do so? Does it affect your reputation? What's your sending pattern? Is it big blasts or small sends, or do you send often enough? And can you handle the feedback loop? So are you ready to cope with the traffic which you generate by sending out those emails? When you can answer these questions, then you should move further to the technical part. Let's get to the second part. So I want to talk a little bit about the technical setup. This might be complicated if you've never done merging PRs or some experts set up on Mautic, then it can be tricky. In that case, just come to my website, and for my members, I have a full guide where I'm showing you from command to command what to do. I'm showing you live tests. I'm showing you all the details what you need to know. Plus, I created also files which you can easily apply in your Mautic, and then it will automatically work just out of the box. But you can do this also yourself, so you actually don't need my guidance if you understand how to apply PRs and do other settings. So a couple of things. I'm a little bit here on the way, but I'll try to position myself somewhere. So a quick recap how the email sending actually works. There are two commands, and now we are talking about the sending via the queue. That's very important, because you can also send without the queue, skipping the queue. But I found that after optimizing many Mautics for larger sends, I found that using the queue is very much needed if you want to reach the best speed possible provided by that server. So regarding the recap, the emails are generated in 2 steps. The step number 1 is done by the broadcast command. File is placed into the var/spool folder. Each email will be a file. And then a second command is needed, which takes this file and sends it further to Amazon SES or any other SMTP. That's the Mautic email send command. Now, if you're using the default setup, then you have probably something like this, that the broadcast command will generate at certain speed, the email send command will also generate at certain speed, and then Amazon SES also sends at certain speed. So to reach the best possible outcome, you need to match these sending speeds or generation speeds. As a default, the broadcast would be like 5 emails per second, and your Mautic send 2.5. So as you see here, the bottleneck is really the sending. So you will end up, if you run your broadcast and your send simultaneously in the background, you will end up the broadcast finishing twice as fast as the email send. So you will be still sending emails out. This is not what we want. So the solution is to scale in a way that the broadcast is done, let's say, with 3 threads, and the email sending with more. So I put 5 here, but it really depends on your system. Maybe it will be, 3 or 4 threads are also enough. And this is the way you can maximize your email sending. So a quick reminder, when the files are prepared, there's 2 ways the broadcast can be done. The files can be prepared. The one way is when you just go to your Mautic, you push the send button, and then this progress bar fills up. That's actually what the broadcast command does. It creates the email. So this is equivalent of that broadcast command what you would execute. It puts the files into the var spool folder. So if you want to time this, you can do that as well by adding the publish time, and I recommend the unpublished time as well. Publish the email, and Mautic will automatically pick this up if you run the Mautic broadcast send command. And the files will be all in the spool folder. So this is actually something what we would like to do. We would like to use 3 different threads saying that, okay, please generate my files in 3 threads, and this command will be responsible for thread number 1, second command for thread number 2, and thread number 3. And this is when this is run. If you run it this way, then the speed of creating the emails will be actually 3 times faster than before. And this is not in Mautic at the moment. It's merged into Mautic 5, but this is a Mautic 4 tutorial. So Mautic 5 is in beta already. Many people are using it, but it still needs some time. So if you would like to still already now start sending emails in Mautic 4 very fast, then you can apply this PR as well. This is 11549 from Zdeno Kosmani. You can apply it. If you don't want to apply it yourself, I have in my guide, I have the files put together. So if you have new Mautic, you can just override the files and it will work out of the box. If you know how to cherry pick a PR, you're welcome to do that as well. So let's say we generated the files 3 times faster. Great. Now what we have to do is we have to send them out 3 times faster or 6 times faster as before. And how are we going to do that? So this is actually already built into Mautic. You don't have to do any changes in Mautic. Little star in the corner because it's not entirely true what I'm saying now, but you don't have to do any changes in Mautic in order this to work. But you're actually gonna have to do somewhere else, but let me get there. So normally if you use the send command, what happens is that the files in a spool folder are picked up one by one and Mautic sends it out. Now what we would like to do is we would like to have 3 threads and make sure that each thread is picking up the files which we assign to them or which we let them to pick up. Or to explain it better, it will be more like they pick up a file, they change the name of the file and say, hey, this is mine, so others are not picking up anymore. So basically what happens is that you see the colors have changed now. Each thread will be saying that this is my file, the others cannot touch it anymore. And this is what is built into Mautic. It's called the lock mode and the lock name. So the lock mode would be file lock or flock, and the lock name is whatever you want. You just add it to your command. So the command, the email sending command will change. I will tell it later in this tutorial. The command will change and say that we want to send with the lock mode flock, and the lock name is whatever, process 1, thread 1, whatever. And then you make 3 commands, thread 1, thread 2, thread 3. And if this works fine, then each thread will pick up a file. When they picked it up, they will change the name, or let's say they put their hand on it, and the others won't send it out anymore. But right now this doesn't work in Symfony because in Mautic, because there is an error in Symfony itself, and we have to make a change to one of the Symfony files, the Swiftmailer. Oh, there is an error. Thank you. In the Swiftmailer inside of Symfony. Because right now, if you do this, if you try to do this, what will happen is that instead of saying that you can't touch my file anymore, they will start picking up each other's files, and you will end up sending the same message multiple times, and you do not want to do that. So there is a fix for it. You have to apply this patch. Oh, you can see the name here. It's 1270 in Symfony. It fixes the Symfony mailer. In my full guide, I'm showing you how to do it if you don't know how to merge patches, but basically that's what you have to do. As you can see, this is a closed patch, but many of us use it in production. It was kindly done by Web Mechanic. Thank you for that. And it fixes this issue inside Mautic. So basically the command will change this way. Mautic email send, time limit 50. I do this because I'm running this command every minute. So I make sure that it runs for 50 seconds and then it restarts every 50 seconds. I give a 10-second break to the server, which ends up to be about 5 seconds at the end. And this command is then multiplied with thread 2, thread 3, thread 4, and so on. And you can go up with the speed, just monitor your server's capacity. There is one more very important thing. So this command, make sure that if you run this, then this thread will have no access to others. But if you are running it as sudo, since your sudo is got permissions, it will touch other files as well. So you have to make sure that you're running it as the web user, which is also running Mautic. Okay, so let's do some speed testing here and see how things are actually working inside Mautic when it comes to creating those emails. So let's go to our Mautic here. And inside, let's go to the spool folder. So I have some emails already here. You can always count the email with LSWC, pipewc. So I have 448 emails already in the spool folder ready to be sent. So let's see how many I can send out within let's say 10 seconds. It's going to process the mailer pool and run for 10 seconds. So our 448 should be, this is a powerful server. It should be like 50 approximately, in my opinion. Yeah, 55 emails in 10 seconds. So we have approximately like a 5 email per second speed. Count the files again. Right, so we have the 55 less. Now I have here ready already as a segment send, timed, scheduled around 15,000 emails, and I would like to generate that with my broadcast command. So when I just generate it, this can take a while if we are in the daytime sending lots of, we're having lots of traffic. Right now this server doesn't have too much traffic, so I can generate this pretty fast, but I would like to show you how to do it even faster with the multi-threaded creation. So first of all, let's see how fast we can generate, let's say 500 or 1000 emails into the spool folder with the broadcast command. So I have here the broadcast command. I want to do 1000 emails. And this is going to take probably not longer than like 30 seconds, I believe. But I will stop the video here. Yeah, it took about 20 seconds to generate this. It really depends on the email content and many things, and the lists and how you created those segments, and it really depends on many things. But now I have these emails here, and I believe I can generate them a lot faster. So let's download the multi-threaded patch. If you're a member, you can access that. If you're not, then go to GitHub, and here's the GitHub repository, and you just have to cherry pick the lines. But before I download it, let's see what kind of options we have for sending. So broadcast send, and we want to ask for help. So if I look at the broadcast send, all I can do is I can limit it, how many contacts we check it, how many do it, how many messages at once, but there are no threads here, so we cannot do it in multiple threads basically, so we can't speed it up. As you can see, we have new options, max threads, and also thread ID. This is what we're going to use to send out more emails. I'm going to show you how it looks if you are sending just one thread out. I set 3 threads, and this is going to be thread number 1, and it will run and generate the 500 emails. Okay, so we can do this 2 more times. And then it takes, each time it takes completely different batch, completely different part of the whole send. And this way you can be sure that at the same time 3 threads are doing a great job and sending out emails, generating the emails as fast as possible. You can actually put them together. I will put something on my membership site how you can run these commands at the same time. So let's see how many emails we have now. Let's go directly from here, from cd var spool. Let's see how many we've got. WC. We have 2,800 emails. The plan is to just give one command that includes a 3-threaded sending. So it means in one command I will say, okay, send out 3,000 in each thread. And this command looks like this. Okay, so you can see the different processes running, and we can look in the back process so we can see in the background how fast it's sending out the emails. Look at that. Look at that speed. Look at that amazing speed. It's like hundreds of emails within 1 second. Really here, the limit here is basically just your computer's ability to write the files, and that's it. And once it's done, it's going to show you all 3 threads really nice. So thread 1 sent this much, then thread 2 this much, and thread 3 this much. It's not even because I was testing before, and actually I just ran out of emails. So if everything goes fine, then we have here around 15k emails, because that's how big my, 13k, because before we did some sending as well. So I have 13,000 emails. That's how big my segment is. Okay, we are halfway there. Right now we have 13,000 emails in our spool folder, and we would like to send them out as soon as possible. Like I mentioned before, there is an issue with Swiftmailer. If I would do a multi-thread send, which means I would use a lock name and lock the files up. Actually, let's look at it together. How does it actually look like, that command? So because it's built into Mautic, you don't have to install anything else inside of Mautic. So let me grab that. So as you can see, we can use this lock name. So we're just going to say this thread, what I'm running, like this command, will belong to process 1. And we can say a lock mode, which we will use file lock, and it will be perfect. But the problem is that Symfony has a bug. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna install this this patch into our Mautic to make sure that this bug doesn't exist anymore. If you remember, you get detailed description. If not, you can just go ahead and do it. It's just it's a GitHub thing, but I'm happy to hold your hand in my membership site and help you to do this. Now we can finally test the sending speed. So I have an example command here, and this is supposed to work. So what I'm making sure here is that it's always www data is sending, calling PHP here, our right directory command. So this is the right path command. I'm gonna send for 10 seconds under the name process 1. And I'm using file lock mode. And I'm gonna do this 3 times. So let's see what happens. It's processing all threads together at once. And I'm kind of hoping that we're gonna send out more than 55 seconds in 55 emails in 10 seconds. As you can see, we sent out 150 in this time. This is a little bit even faster than I'm supposed to send. So I'm gonna hold back myself a little bit, because I think on this account I have like 15 emails per second. Okay, we are done. And if I would count the emails now, I would also see that exact amount of emails being sent. So let's do one more test here. 13,153. Let's do one more send. This time I'm going to do for 5 seconds. Just to make sure I'm not overdoing anything. And then we count the emails if the right amount was sent out at all. And as you can see, we have here 13,153 emails, and now we have 13,061. And if you deduct this, then it's exactly the right amount. So we can be sure that no email was sent out twice. I hope you found this video very useful. If you have any questions, then please come to my website and leave it in the comment section or right here in YouTube. If you like what I'm doing and you would like to support me, you can be a member on my website. I help you with different kind of scripts. You can find lots of downloadable content, and you can also have access to different kinds of tutorials and courses I published. I'm planning to tackle a very exciting topic next week. I hope I see you soon.